Blow, blow, blow till I feel the breath of the Spirit blowing in me.
Hello, welcome to the Spirit of Life program. My name is Lucia Pace and my guest today is Daniel Tenni, who is a writer-producer of We Stick Together. Hello, Daniel.
Hi.
Welcome to the program. Daniel, what does the name of We Stick Together mean exactly?
Well, We Stick Together is a title I came up with, or Restare Uniti in Italian. I'd written a script about the internment and I was thinking what a fitting name would be. And I realised that that's what they would have done. They would have stuck together through the tough times and supported each other. So that's why I named it We Stick Together.
What do you mean by the internment? For the viewers that are listening, they don't know what's behind this movie, so what's the plot and what's the theme?
So the film is about the internment of Italians during the Second World War in Australia. So when Mussolini declared war on Australia during the Second World War, all of the Australians with Italian heritage living here became enemy aliens. That's what the government called them because of the internment policy. And around 5,000 of these were rounded up and they were taken away from their families and locked up in prison camps for up to 5 years. Now a lot of these people were born in Australia. They were pretty much Australian citizens and were no real threat to the country at all. It's an untold story. It's something that not many people know about, and it's really time now to tell the story because a lot of these survivors are in their 90s, late 90s, and it's really the right time to do it now before it's too late.
So how did these stories come to your attention? What inspired your idea to do a film on this theme?
Well, it was almost like Inception, really. It was a small idea that started as a seed in my head. I was in a university class where I study film, and I heard a rumour about the internment camps from one of my tutors, a guy called Ken Kelso. And the idea was kind of going around in my head for 1 or 2 years to try and do something about that, and I was intrigued. And then later on in my second year of uni, I had the opportunity to write a film and produce a film. So I decided to start researching the internment and try to do something about that. And when I started researching, I went down to the shrine in Harvey, which is in Western Australia, which was one of the biggest internment camps. Now I went down to this shrine and started looking around, and there were some newspaper articles and things like that on the wall, some old articles, and I saw a plaque with all these names on. And I looked up to my family name and saw my family name, Tenni, on the plaque. And that kind of struck me as kind of strange. So I went home, asked my grandmother what the deal was, if we had any relationship to the internment camp. And she said that her father was interned.
Wow.
So that kind of really struck me as something that really led me to believe that I was on the right path.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like you were led to go there, wasn't it?
A lot of things with this film have just sort of fallen into place, you know. There's a lot of times this film wouldn't have been made, and to think I would be here in Melbourne, we've been all around the world and have this amazing opportunity now. 2 years ago I never would have thought that at all. And I really feel like things are just kind of falling into place, and I've just got to trust in the path, and hopefully the vision will be completed.
Right. So Daniel, you're currently in Melbourne from Perth.
Yep.
With your crew.
I am.
Is that right? Yes.
Yep.
Launching the We Stick Together footage or film. Where else have you shown the film?
We've been very lucky. It's been around many countries in the world. We've been to Cannes in France, which is one of the biggest film festivals in the world. We're in the short film corner there, and that was great going over there and experiencing that, and people really reacted to it and they really wanted to see more. It's also been to Canada, in New Jersey. It won the best film. It's been to Italy, Norway, Denmark, and even Africa. Which was a pleasant surprise to do so well around the world, and I think that really shows, you know, the universalness, if that is a word, of this story. You know, it's not just an Australian story. The universal themes of racism and migration and integration, they're issues all over the world, and people can connect with that, and hopefully we can learn from that.
Why isn't it taught in our schools?
That's a really good question, and you know, one of the goals of completing this project would be to get this taught in schools. I mean, why isn't it a part of history? Why is it just forgotten or left out of the history books? We need to remember these things. We need to take a leaf out of that page to today and look at how we treat our migrants now. You know, people come here to our country escaping bad things in their country, and we need to, you know, look at how we treat them, and we need to be more tolerant of other religions and other cultures, and just be accepting of that and try to, you know, find that peace.
Indeed. So with this, making this film, how did you raise the funds for it? Was it a costly exercise?
It was a costly exercise in terms of in terms of our hard work and passion. It was really funded out of our own pockets with a little bit of fundraising events here and there. We made the film very cheaply with a lot of love and passion and a lot of favours within the industry, because I'd built up a lot of contacts. It's been a struggle, but we've been very lucky, and there's a lot of great opportunities and doors opening around us, but now we just need a little bit more support so we can keep going into this next phase of the project.
Now, I understand that We Stick Together is quite a short film to introduce the truth and the reality of what happened about the internment. Where are you going with it now? Where to now with?
So the next phase is a documentary which we're in production called The Enemy Aliens, which is obviously what the government deemed them to be. And we're going to be talking to these survivors and hearing their incredible stories, and they'll be sharing them with us. There's also going to be experts and their families. There'll be some great shots of the Australian countryside, and also some really high quality cinematic reenactments as well.
Daniel, we need to go to a break.
Yeah, sure.
So I'd be interested in taking up, you know, what else you're doing regarding producing. I think you're also going to be producing a feature film out of this too.
Yeah, that's the end goal, to do a feature film.
So we'll talk about that when we come back.
Great.
You're watching Spirit of Life program. We'll see you back shortly.
Love, love, oh, till I feel much breath of the Spirit flowing in me.
Hello, welcome back. My guest today is Daniel Tenni, who is a writer, producer of a film called We Stick Together. Welcome back, Daniel.
Thank you.
Daniel, before the break, you mentioned that you are now producing a documentary, which is the next phase of your plan. Apparently, We Stick Together is a short film, is that right? Introducing the idea?
Yeah. The short film is a 14-minute kind of piece of the puzzle to give people an idea of what happened back then. When I had the idea, I realised it would be almost impossible to tell the whole story in a short film. So what I decided to do was write a short story and tell one man's sort of journey and what he experienced, up to the point where he gets taken away to an internment camp. And so what we've been doing is using the short film to gain support and gain interest for the project. And that's what we're doing in Melbourne. We're launching the short film to get supporters to come in and really get a sense of what we're trying to achieve. And we're also using it to connect with survivors and families all over the country, because we plan to put on a screening in every major Australian city of this film. And at the same time, connect with some people that have some amazing stories
to tell in terms of the internment. Now, does it have to be the actual people that have experienced it? Because they'd be pretty getting on in life, I would imagine.
Definitely.
Or can it be family members that may know the story?
Yeah, it absolutely can be family members as well. We're interested in everybody. Obviously, it'd be great to find the actual survivors. So far, we've got a handful, but there really aren't many left.
Okay.
They're getting quite old. So yeah, I mean, people that do know stories of their parents or grandparents, or might have photos or you know, some footage or some letters, mementos, artifacts they might have had in the camps and things like that would be great.
But how do they get in touch with you to say that they know someone is because I believe your company is called Tino
Films.
Films, as in Tino.
Tino
Films?
Tino Films. Yeah. So if you just Google that, I mean, everything's on the website. It's got the Facebook page, the email, phone numbers, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Tino
so Tino,
Films.
why Tino Films? Why do you call it Tino Films?
Well, Tino was actually my grandfather's name, my nonna's name.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. The guy that was interned.
My great-grandfather was interned.
Yes.
His
Son.
No, his daughter
Right.
is my nonna, and her husband is my nonna. But still, he meant a lot to me, so I named it after him.
Okay.
And I really feel like he's one of the people watching over this project as well.
Indeed. Well, it's been an incredible journey, it seems. And now you're going to do the documentary. Just can you give me or the viewers an insight into what goes on behind the scenes in producing a film? It can be quite
basically it's pulling your hair out every 5 minutes. No, but it's really rewarding. It's just about, you just have to think about everything, and the main thing for us at the moment really is finding that finance, which is why we're trying to do this all over the country and really try and get our network and our supporters. And we're pitching to broadcasters like the SBS and the ABC, the History Channel, and they've shown interest, so that's good. We just need to keep going, and hopefully they'll show more interest, and they might actually give us a bit of money to do something really special here. Because I feel this doco is really special. It's going to have a huge cultural significance to this country and to the world, I think. It's a piece of history that no one knows about, and a very valuable piece of history that we can all learn from as well, I think.
And have you had a conversation with the government authorities about the history of your findings?
The funding bodies and things like that for the
No, as
the
in
film.
government support. Are they aware of the internal?
They are aware, and there's actually a big move in the federal parliament at the moment, which we're really proud of. Thanks to guys like Tony Piccolo, who's an MP from South Australia, also Paul Papalia from Western Australia, and Rita Safiotti from Western Australia. These guys are all pushing a motion in Parliament to get official recognition of the internment and the events that occurred. And actually there was a debate only about 2 or 3 weeks ago in federal Parliament, and now it looks like there's going to be a move towards an official apology by the Prime Minister to the Italian migrants, which is huge. So we're really proud of that, and it's great to see there's a resurgence of this story. And yeah, hopefully people can realise what actually happened.
I believe recently you launched the screening of We Stick Together in Melbourne at Como House.
We did.
How did that go? Did that meet your expectations? And what sort of people turned up?
It was great. It was a great event. It was at Palace Cinema in Como, which is a lovely venue, and we're very lucky to have that. We've got a great relationship with Palace Films and Alicia Zeckler, and the Zeckler family have really been great to us, so we're really thankful for that support. The night was a great success. We had some great people down there, some pretty heavy industry people, some celebrities and a lot of PR people and media and things like that, which was great. So hopefully we can build on that and continue the buzz and really just build and hopefully it'll turn into support soon,
And have you had any film nominations since the screening?
We have actually. We have had a lot of nominations in the past. We actually had one since the screening, which we found out about a couple nights ago from Campfire Film Festival, which we were really happy to hear about. We're actually up for an award in that, and that's on the 9th of May in Federation Square in Melbourne. So that'll be great to be a part of too.
Indeed, yes. So how can people, there might be someone out there interested in helping you perhaps find people to be interviewed for your film, for your feature film and or your documentary. How can they help? In which way can they help?
Yeah, we'd love that. I mean, just again, as we said before, just Google that Tino Films website, because everything is on there, and you can contact us, and we'd love to hear your stories.
Okay,
definitely.
Daniel, we're just going to a break. We'll be back.
Great.
Please stay tuned. We'll be back straight after the break. Hello, welcome back. My guest today is Daniel Tenni, who is a writer-producer of a movie called We Stick Together, about the Italian internment during the Second World War. Hello, Daniel. Daniel, apart from seeking out internment stories, how else can people help?
There's a lot of ways people can help. Social media, for example, is a huge thing these days. If people can share our fan page and, retweet our things and things like that, share our campaign around. Also, word of mouth. Just tell their friends about what we're trying to achieve, and just get the word around. If there's stories or if they want to support the project, that would be great. And just keep an eye out on that Tino Films website for any upcoming events, because we're going to have some more screenings in Melbourne as well.
Okay. What sort of time frame are you planning to do that in?
Over the next year. We're doing screenings all over the country, so definitely keep an eye out for them. We're probably going to hit Brisbane is a big place where there's a few survivors that have come up there, and also South Australia, and some other areas in Australia as well. So it's really a national thing that we're trying to achieve here.
And Daniel, since you've launched the screening of this movie, have you found people coming out of the woodwork wanting to tell their story, or are they scarce?
We have. They are very scarce,
Yes.
but we have definitely found people coming out, and a lot of them really are very willing to contribute and share their story, because they see the importance and they want this to be told to the world. So we found a guy in Melbourne who we're very excited about meeting, a guy called Natali, who some of the crew met before I came to Melbourne, and I heard that was an amazing experience. He was interned for around 5 years, I think, and he's around 95 years old, I believe, so it's going to be great to meet him soon. We also found some survivors in Queensland who are very keen to get involved and help as well. So we'll be setting up all over the country and finding these internees and their families and putting on the screenings, building up that network of support, and hopefully eventually it's just going to, build into something really special.
I'm just wondering, the story with We Stick Together, the short film that you've produced, is that story actually a factual story on someone's actual experience, or is it fictional based on a potential true story?
There were people that experienced events like what happened in the film, but it was it was a fictional event that I made up in order to show what had happened. A lot of people did experience things just like that though, and there are some incredible stories that we've heard so far. I mean, there was one guy we heard about who was fighting in the Australian Army, yet his brother was still locked up back home. That just really doesn't make sense. There's one guy we heard about who was on a train. This other guy was in the army too, an Italian guy, and his brother was interned, and he was riding on the train between internment camps, and he was a soldier, and he was feeding all the internees. His job was to feed all the internees. And then he, by chance, saw his brother on the train who was a prisoner, and they had this amazing moment where they connected and embraced, and all these Italian civilians started rushing up to him and giving him notes to give to their loved ones and things like that, and he just got overwhelmed by everyone trying to give him notes for their families.
I would imagine that would be a very
extremely
emotionally driven moment.
That's just one little story of the many dozens of incredible encounters we've heard about. So we're really going to explore them in the documentary, and we're going to make some really high quality cinematic reenactments of the best ones as well, and that'll be really useful, I think, too.
So when you did your research and found that your grandfather was actually interned, is it great-grandfather?
Great-grandfather, yeah.
Great-grandfather is interned. You didn't know that, of course.
I didn't know at the start, no.
And it was almost like you were led to this research place because you had to do a movie as part of your studies, in terms of getting your credentials in media.
Yeah.
What did your grandmother remember in detail what happened to the grandfather, to her father?
Yeah, she remembers a little bit, but they didn't really tell her that much. I think that's kind of the way they were in those days. You know, people didn't really talk about things like they do today. They kind of do the whole, you know, the strong thing and keep it and don't talk about it, discuss it with the family. Obviously it's a huge traumatic event for these people, so it would be hard to talk about it. And that's again why this is so important, because these people have been silent for so long. And this is a chance for them to finally have a voice and to talk about, you know, their trauma and their experiences. And I think they're doing an extremely brave thing and a valuable thing for us as a younger generation to take that on board and learn from what happened as well. It's not about pointing the finger or blaming the government or you know, Australia for being a bad, you know, whatever. It's about reconciliation and healing for these people. I really feel that it's going to be very special.
It was very much a European thing, isn't it? It's a European way of, it's almost a stoic way of saying, well, let's just get on with life now. That's what we experienced. Get on with it, leave it behind us. But do you really leave it behind? I don't think you can you?
No, very much so. Italians are very, you know, very proud people, and they really just want to get on with it, and a lot of them did. And you know, one internee we're talking to, Tom Dorsogna, was interned for 4 years, and he went on to make one of the biggest small goods company in Australia, Dorsogna. So a lot of these migrants made a very valuable contribution to Australian society, and I think, yeah, that shows a lot of character. Yeah.
Well, Daniel, it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. And it sounds like you've been on an amazing journey, and you've got a long way to go still with this idea that's come to you and this truth, that the message that you want to get out there. We've come to the end of our program. I really enjoyed listening to how it's all come together for you, and I sincerely hope it fulfills every part of your desire and wishes to complete the project that's in your heart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. You've been watching the Spirit of Life program. Tune in again next week, same time, same place. In the meantime, take care.
Bring it to